I want to let him share his story because it's very inspirational. Like you may think sometimes you need to like play an instrument for many years, right? This is common idea. But what I always say, commit to your practice and practice a lot. Now, I let him share his story.
So, about 4 years ago, I actually started learning this Darbuka. And before that, I was actually composing world music and classical and heavy metal and very creative in the music creative process. So I set my mind to really work hard with implementing these techniques, but pushing it to a new level of speed, control, and something very interesting that, you know, finding your own style, seeing styles, and then kind of creating your own vibe. And I kind of put my mindset into doing something different that, you know, that the world hasn't really heard. And so I think with everyone here, I think tonight it's important to find your own style and voice. Do look at other drummers out there and implement, see what they're doing, work out what they're doing, but spend a lot of time with this drum. And that's probably one of the keys I'd say with anybody is spend a lot of time with it on your own. So when you do pick this instrument up as well, you don't want to actually be thinking about anything else. It's really important that you're very empty. You have to be very empty, like an empty cup. If you're thinking about anything else while you're playing this instrument, you're going to be frustrated. And you're going to put it down, it's going to be in the corner of the room. And then it's going to be on Gumtree. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that it's always in front of you. You always have a picture of it somewhere, and you're always picking it up. And if you feel happy, you pick it up. And if you feel annoyed, pick it up. Always basically pick this up every day consistently, even if it's for 10 minutes. Because consistency is the key to this instrument. And basically when you practice technique, the speed comes. A lot of beginners want the speed first. And I didn't want the speed first because I knew it was going to be a slow process. But the mindset and the willingness just to learn the techniques, control what you're doing, the speed will be the effect of that. So do play this consistently and have fun with it too, really importantly, because it's the joy of it. And also one more thing, the dooms is the heartbeat. So it's a natural thing for us to do. This is, what's hard is really in the mind, really. It's, you know, our mind says that it's hard. So just have fun with it in the journey of it and you will get there. So that's a very short snippet of a 4-year mindset.
Just
summed up.
But how many hours a day?
I could say it's not how many hours you're doing, it's the quality of hours.
Yeah.
It's what you're doing in these hours. But you know, for example, like an 8-hour day for me it's not uncommon. So I've definitely put a lot of time into it because repetition is everything with this instrument, especially any music instrument. But the mind forgets how to play on time with this instrument. So that's why you have to repeat over and over again to the metronome.
I was about to ask you, are you still...
Your metronome is your best friend with this
Yeah.
instrument, hands down. If you're playing without a metronome,
You can go off.
you're going to be wasting your time.
Yeah.
This is what we experienced tonight, right?
You have to do a lot of
metronome all the time.
lot of metronome, yeah. And you gotta really appreciate the power of the metronome. It's keeping you like in a grid, in a reference point. You're not just thinking, oh, I'm playing on time. You actually know you've missed the beat. So then you've got to go, now I've got to practice that again and play it on time. And if you don't play it on time, how are you going to improve? Because what happens is your neurological pathways start shaping into playing on time through the journey. So your metronome, you got to make sure you push that metronome every day. It's really important.
Metronome also helps for you to develop the technique. You learn, like rolls, for example, like this Darbuka rolls. When you play with metronome, you know that it's on time. If you don't play with metronome, you don't know what's happening. And it can also help you to push. Let's say if I play like 120, then 100, then going faster and faster, you know? And then you know where is your limitation, like, you know, I have a lot of pain on my muscles, you know? Metronome helps for that, to push more for the technique. Not just for rhythm, you know, like for rhythm, essential, like we know, okay, now when is the offbeat, when is the onbeat, when is the syncopation, but even for the technique it helps a lot. Because then you know how to push, you know? Learn more, learn more, learn more. Metronome is the key. This is what I always say. And I missed metronome practice for first 8 years of my Darbuka playing. First 8 years. I didn't practice with metronome at all. And then in last 5 years, I just practice with metronome. I say metronome, metronome, metronome is the must. And this is why also I emphasize all the time metronome for you. And this is also what we manifest. Every time when we play together, we are rushing, we are dragging. Metronome. I always say like, work with metronome. Because we have this tendency like, I have inner metronome. What is metronome? Fuck it. This is what we say. But no. Take it, listen to it, do it from 60, then 80, then 100, then 120, Go more and more. And his story is very inspirational. Even for me, like I can acknowledge his style, his technique is amazing. I told him like very top level. Amazing. Like I am very amazed and I am very inspired by his commitment too. Because I don't practice 8 hours a day. I practice a few hours a day. But every day, as he says, consistency. I haven't missed a day maybe for a long time. If I look my last 3-4 years, how many days I missed practicing? Not more than 10 maybe. Like consistency. Even if you just practice half an hour a day, all right. Better than practicing 10 hours a day, then you forget for 1 month. Practice half an hour every day, half an hour, half an hour. Then when you feel for more, and you see the example here, just in 4 years, with a lot of hours of quality practice, 8 hours, in average.
Yeah, it could be at least 4 hours a day.
At least. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I really don't want anyone here to be overwhelmed. That's the number one thing that beginners will feel. Don't be overwhelmed. You're here for a reason because you want to overcome that mental barrier of feeling like you know what you want, but you don't know how to get there in a way. So just eliminate that head voice saying that you're not good enough, that it's going to take you a million squillion hours. Just start really slowly and just put that first brick down and just pick it up. Every single day, even for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And really importantly, be present as well. Like
Concentration.
I said, empty that mind and pick it up. I always tell everybody this, before you pick it up, empty that mind. Really important one, because when you're present, now you can really hear the metronome and then you can start your journey.
I asked him last night something very interesting. I asked him, like, do you check the time when you practice? He said, never once. That was very interesting.
There is no future, there's just a perpetual present.
Yeah.
So that future point
Like,
is
when you are
exist.
in this zone, in this concentration, like just being here and now, practicing with your instrument.
The key is to focus on your practice consciously, but then when you're playing it, empty it.
Yeah,
So be in the flow state.
exactly.
And always have fun too, like this is why we're here. We're here to smile, we're here to be joyous, we're here to express ourselves. It's no better than any, it's all about just having fun no matter where we are. This is the big point. And this is, it's really important that we don't let our mind get the better of us, otherwise, we will give up. So I don't want anyone here to give up on this. It's a very beautiful journey.
Do you have any recommendation for, first of all percussionists, and then especially for Darbuka players?
A recommendation for practices or?
Anything that you can recommend for all these drummers here in general, and then especially for Darbuka players?
Yep. I'd say find sacred space wherever you are. Make sure you're in a place where it's just going to be a practice place and there's no distractions. Stay consistent, at least 15 minutes a day, at least if you can. If you can do more, that's awesome. And also, what happens on this journey as well, you'll start talking less. And that's a good thing, because this is man's problem. We're talking too much, we're not listening enough. So we have to start listening to what we're playing, because if we're not listening and seeing the errors, how are we going to correct something that we're not conscious of?
Very good point.
So we actually have to listen to what we're playing really importantly, and that's why the metronome is your best friend. Where's your reference point if you're not listening? So I'd have to say, yeah, it's good listening skills. So listen to what you're playing. Have fun with it. Have a sacred space. Try to maybe dedicate from 4 p.m. or something, or like every single day if you can. So like your mind starts getting used to a certain time that you can practice. So you're not so up and down. Maybe that might, you know, make you less confident to want to practice if you're going different hours. I'm not too sure, but just be consistent with it. Have fun with it, really. And you could check out my Instagram if you want as well. It's Mistaken Enemy. I've got some, you know, some beginners kind of lessons on there for anyone that kind of just got into it, because I want to share. And I know what it's like at the beginning, and looking at 240 pixel videos is it's the worst thing to do. It takes a lot of patience to work out what these people are doing out there on these videos. So I went through that journey, and it definitely paid off, you know. So, but at least now I can put it in 4K for you. So save you all the time and patience and mental anguish. So yeah, do check that out, and listen to this awesome drummer here. Keep learning from Atman. He's an amazing drummer, amazing musician, very humble, and he will help out the Gold Coast drummers unite, come together, and hopefully this community will grow bigger as well. I'm really hoping that we can make a movement here. So thank you for your time anyway, guys.